Good evening, everyone. Hi, Beth. Before we begin, could we have a nice round of applause for the Peppermints? Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody, to the 6th annual, fifth or sixth annual Foundation for Hazlitt Schools Inspiration Awards. We'd like to begin the evening with an explanation of what is the foundation and what does it do, and I would like to call to the front Carol Wollender.
Thank you, Dirk, and welcome. On behalf of the Foundation for Hazlitt Schools, we are so proud and so pleased to have all of you here. Not only our new awardees this evening, but so many of those who have received awards in the past. The Foundation for Hazlitt Schools began in 1989, and it was born because we needed a partnership with the community and with the school community itself. And because we are a partnership with the schools, we decided that our goal and our mission should be to provide resources that are outside the normal operating budget of the school system. In other words, what can we do to give back to the school community that the school community can't do for itself? And so our goal as a foundation is to give to every child. You'll find foundation work at the Wilkshire Early Childhood Center. You'll find foundation work at our elementary schools, our middle schools, and our 2 high schools. We also invest in programs, activities, and special projects. And I'd like to tell you just briefly, those of you who came in and paid attention to the photos on the table out there might have seen some of our projects. You might have seen that we do mini grants every year for our teachers and our staff. We usually provide about $15,000 back to the school community. Almost $5,000 every year is given by the Foundation for our library program, our proud sponsor of books, where we're in partnership with Schuler's Books, our partners in the school community, and the parents as partners. We also have a program where we give back to the cultural diversity by giving a grant to the high school. And we also really enjoy getting proposals for special projects. Some of the things that we've done, we've worked with our community to put a greenhouse on the back of the high school. We've also worked an awful lot with TV 25. Brian Town is here and again has done an excellent job. Thank you, Brian, for all of the work, and we've been very proud to be able to buy some of the equipment that's used not only by Brian in the studio, but by all of our kids who participate in those programs. We've also worked very hard in the Performing Arts Center. We've helped to purchase the grand piano that's there. We've also helped to put in new projectors and other kinds of equipment. How do we raise money? Very briefly. We raise money because people care about the Hazlitt schools. And as such, we have individual contributions, we have business contributions. Many of our developers donate part of the proceeds for the lots that they sell back to the foundation. Some of those individuals are here this evening, and we thank you for that. We also have business contributions from those who have mortgage companies. If you might buy a lot in the Hazlitt schools, part of your lot sale and your mortgage will come back to the foundation. We know that our staff at the schools and many of our community members contribute through United Way. We have endowment fund pledges, And of course, for those of you who like to play golf, we have our annual golf outing. So Hazlitt Foundation is very proud to be part of this endeavor. We're proud that we can give back to the students. We're proud because, as you know from this evening tonight, we are honoring not only a member of our community, but a member of our school community as a teacher, and one of our alums, and that is just such a special thing for us to do. We're proud to be a partner, we're proud to invest, and that's what we're all about. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'd like to call Bob Regan to the front, please. He was going to talk a little bit about the combination of foundation and schools and the way they work together. Let's have a big round of applause.
Good evening and welcome. And forgive me, but please allow me and my wife, Pat, to extend our personal congratulations to our good friends, Dee Schnarr and Jack Harney, as well as to Sam Connect for the awards that they certainly dearly deserve tonight. But thank you for giving me a few minutes to acknowledge the successful and warm partnership between the Hazlitt Board of Education and the Foundation for Hazlitt Schools. And may I just take a moment to introduce the two school board members that were able to be here this evening, and that's Bev Levy, current president of our Board of Education, and Charles Brenneman. If you would stand. Thank you for being here. In Hazlitt, we are blessed to provide our students with a wide variety of educational opportunities. Few school districts offer more. The mission of the Hazlitt Public Schools is to provide educational opportunities which enable students of all aspiration and abilities to grow and learn. Therefore, our mission is to create educational opportunities. The Foundation for Hazlitt Schools gives assistance to the Board of Education, to students, to parents, and to the community to meet this mission. It is understood, at least I hope it's understood, especially in the presence of a weak economy, that the local Board of Education is limited to what it can fund. And in Hazlitt, our community, which has very high expectations, expects more. For 14 years, the Foundation has provided Hazlitt residents and Hazlitt businesses a tax-exempt opportunity to further invest in their local schools and in the youth of the community. And through the Foundation's fundraising efforts and through generous contributions from citizens, the Foundation has provided for programs that go beyond the Board of Education's budget. The Foundation is an important part of the Hazlitt Public Schools' future. I encourage our citizens to become associated with the Foundation for Hazlitt Schools. We need to hold on to those educational opportunities that connect students to their school and community. It is our goal, it is the Foundation's goal, to create pathways that will engage students in some kind of activity whereby they will contribute to their school and community. They can contribute by way of music, through the arts, certainly through the athletic programs, also the elementary safety patrol program, the student councils, the quiz bowl team, journalism, TV 25, the vast array of service organizations within the school system, such as the Key Club, which is associated with the local Kiwanis Club and Kiwanis International, or the National Honor Society. We are certain that if students connect with the school beyond the day-to-day curriculum and contribute, and if they can contribute, to the good reputation of the school and to the community, the chances go way up that they will be successful. Successful not just as an academic success, but will be successful as good citizens. The foundation is our partner, and I urge everyone to learn more about the foundation and learn more about their good work and their good deeds. So it's my pleasure, on behalf of nearly 3,000 kids, that I thank you, the foundation, and I thank all of you here tonight for your steadfast support. Thank you very much.
What are the Inspiration Awards? To tell us what they are, Foundation Chair June Hewitt.
Thank you. Like those that have come before me, I want to welcome you and thank you for caring enough about Hazlitt students to be here this evening. When I saw what I was supposed to talk about on the program, it occurred to me that I really didn't know how to define inspiration. But I do know it when I see it. And that's what the Inspiration Awards are about. Although there are many, many people in our community, from our alumni and from our faculty and staff, who are deserving. One night a year, we stop and instead of looking at the constellation of stars, pick out 2 or 3. And in looking at them, try to understand what it is to be an inspiration in, for, or because of Hazlitt schools. And so each year we try to find a teacher, a community member, an alumni that we can honor. But tonight is not just an honoring of those people, although they certainly are deserving, nor is it entertainment, although Brian has created some incredible videos, but it really is to inspire, to call each of us to do what it is that we can do for Hazlitt schools. Because we have, as Bob has just indicated, 3,000 students in our district now, all of whom have a dream. Some hope to grow up to be teachers like Dee Schnar, or artists like Sam. Some of them dream of being a business person or being a leader like Jack Harney has been and is, though not currently in our community. And so tonight we stop and look at their lives and say, what is it that we are called to do? Because each of these people have not only contributed their gifts to Hazlitt schools, but they contribute their gifts tonight to us as they remind us that each of us has a role to play in the school district. Each of us has a task. Not all of us can inspire the way they have, but each of us has something that we can do. A little bit later, I have a couple of announcements to make about people who this very evening have been incredibly generous to the Hazlitt Foundation because they believe that every Hazlitt student does have a dream and that there are ways to help students get to those dreams. So tonight I would encourage you to sit back, to enjoy this time where we get to feature 3 of our very best and to think about what is it in each of us that we can contribute to make Hazlitt schools the best.
Thank you, June. Before we move into our award winners for this year, I'd like to recognize and have you help me recognize some past award winners who are here with us tonight. If you could stand, please. Tom Devine, from last year. Ray Tadgerson. Okay, saw you here. And I think I saw Daryl Brown. Yes, very good. Thank you. Did I miss any past winners? Good. Jean Friends, please stand. Thank you. Good. Anybody else? Okay. Very good. In front of you, you each have this beautifully done booklet, which has a description of each of our winners. Nobody came here to listen to me read, so I'm not going to do that. We're going to let the videotapes speak for themselves. So, Brian, our first winner is Dee Schnarr.
I had Mrs. Schnarr both for freshman English and for AP English. And I guess what sticks out to me most about her class was just the environment she created in the class of support and caring. And as readers and writers, we always felt very comfortable sharing our ideas. And just as students in a group of students, there was a lot of camaraderie in the class, and it really developed, I think, the sense of community that you really don't get in college. And now that I'm at MSU, what I look back on, I think most fondly was the friendships in the class and the way she really looked out for us and really cared about all of us individually as students.
I think one of the most wonderful things about Dee is that she encourages all kids in so many different ways. I know that she encourages our athletes, and I know that she encourages our artists, and I know that she encourages all kids. And she's also academically, encouraging to kids. She challenges them to do their best. I don't know of a student that doesn't graduate out of her having had Mrs. Schnarr for AP English that doesn't say that was the best class I've ever had.
I just feel so privileged to be able to teach AP. I get to know the most excellent people I've ever met, and to watch it grow the way it has from one section of 20 when I first began to 2 sections within a year, and then now 3 sections of it. And this year the enrollment has grown to 80 students. And someone might think 80 students going to do what AP English requires? There's no way, but yes way. I have 80 dedicated, beautiful individuals who have already proven with their 3 summer assignments that are already sitting in my to-do pile.
Catch-22 is my favorite. I remember reading that, and it was so funny because it's this very postmodern, vulgar book in some ways, with sweet little Mrs. Schnarr teaching it. But she can do it. She can pull off all sorts of literature, from postmodern Catch-22 to Wuthering Heights, and she really does a great job teaching all of them and preparing high school seniors for what will be a very demanding year the next year.
An AP student is a busy, busy person. They are involved. They have commitments in music, sports, leadership, and work. And they have scheduled their lives in a way that they excel in all those areas and are beautiful people. The character education that's gone on in Hazlitt High School and at home is absolutely evident in every student.
The kids went to Mrs. Schnarr and said, "We'd like to sing a song. Would you write the text for the song?" And she, I think, knowing me and knowing who I was, wrote a very personal poem that was just perfectly set by my student teacher at the time. And then the kids sang it. And as I sat there on stage, the music, but even more importantly, the words, the text that she wrote, the poem that she wrote, really made me, I mean, it was the first time I said, I'm a father. And what an incredible thing for her to be able to sum up what that feeling is like and touch me. I think she touched everybody with her poem about that. It was really incredible.
This award is so well suited to Mrs. Schnarr and Schieferit because she embodies so much of what is good about Hazlitt. As I've gone to college and met people who have grown up all over the state and all over the country, people don't have the same sense of community that I did growing up, and they don't have the same sense of love and support and being part of something. And she really makes that happen in Hazlitt. And it's through English, which is what's so interesting. Through these texts and through writing and through just being in her classroom, she makes people part of something, part of a community. There's just so much friendship and camaraderie, and I come back to Hazlitt and I see friends with teachers and students, and it's just very much being part of something, and she is just such a loving and empathetic force in this school and this community.
My personal inspiration is my family. My son, Nick, I've talked me into, going back and pursuing teaching. And Nathan, both boys are working on their PhDs now in chemistry and pharmacy. And they have never stopped in their commitment to learning and to constantly being excited about and talking over the phone about even a new movie of literary merit that we watch in 3 different places and then discuss. And then finally, my husband. When you were asking me earlier how I deal with all those stacks of papers, perhaps some other people were wondering, Ann, how does she do the dishes, put the food on the table, and the laundry? Well, the answer is I don't. My husband is retired, works part-time, and he has taken over all of household chores. And he has my dinner for me when I get home. And he is thrilled that I'm able to have this awesome experience of really having 100+ children every year and watching them go on out into the world and on into their next class.
Thank you. Please, let's have a big round of applause for our first winner this year, Dee Schnarr.
This first award is for teacher, nurturer, poet, community builder, mom, and really smart wife.
Thank you so much. When I thought about coming up here tonight, I realized it's the first time I get to talk about something I'm excited about, and a bell is not going to ring in 55 minutes. Oh! All right. Well, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce my husband and #1 support system, Fred Schnarr. The other members of my family are here in spirit, but as we speak, our Colorado son, Nathan, is perhaps flying overhead, returning from Connecticut, where he just received a fellowship award to continue in his research in organic chemistry. Our younger son, Nicholas, was planning on coming, and we basically forbade him to. He has 2 midterms tomorrow and a paper in his doctoral program at U of M. So we told him we'll send him the video. To the members of the foundation, I express my utmost appreciation for this honor. What worries me, however, is when I describe my day to you, some may ask why someone should receive recognition for enjoying the most magnificent career in the world. Here is said day, and I'll be quick. From the moment I enter the doors of the high school, about 7:10 a.m., I'm privileged to witness a new day of adventure with students eager and ready to be challenged. Some students have already come in and are writing down some of the notes that later classes had added to our board discussion. Others come in to discuss a difficult passage that they read the night before, or even to recommend a thought-provoking movie or book to challenge me. No, not all students demonstrate this energy, especially at 7 a.m., and not all have experienced this zest for learning, at least not yet. But there is always that goal, that hope. Then the bell rings, and utopia unfolds. Each hour of the day, my room fills with the most wonderful people, reading my message on the music stand that instructs them to do 3 or 4 tasks before the bell even rings to begin class. My favorite part of these hours, now as soon as I say that, I don't know, how am I going to decide my favorite part? Circulating the room, listening in on small groups, discussions as I initial their nights journaling on the literature we're studying, or watching 1 or more students teach a lesson on X topic, or pointing out some excellent piece that was in the last essays, leading the freshmen and sometimes the seniors in a musical rendition of the Helping Verbs to the tune of Mary Had Little Lamb. I bet Allison will sing it with you in a little bit. No, I think my favorite part is when I'm shedding tears of sadness or laughter over a vivid scrapbook entry by these seniors who are ready for that next venture on. Or perhaps this is my favorite, learning even new insights after 8 years of reading those pieces of literature that have just sprung out of a wonderful class discussion. Oh, but what about the scenes they do that bring out the story or the novel or the play that we're reading and make us laugh and make us see those pictures more? Maybe that's the best part. No, maybe it's when I'm home and I'm sitting at the dining room table reading essays, and we're not going to talk about what time it is, and I suddenly scream with delight and haul my husband in there to listen to another beautiful metaphor that just was created to bring a point absolutely to shining effort. My poor husband listens, and I keep promising. Now, this is the last one, I promise. Let's face it, I am awarded and rewarded on a daily basis by the diligent, conscientious efforts of my students to imagine heights and then strive for them. When Brian Town interviewed me for the video, he inquired about who I thought of as inspirational. My reply was so long that he had to leave most of it out. So I said, aha, I've got another place where I can put it. So here they are. Inspirational people, my life abounds with them. My colleagues, especially Mr. Tom Devine, whose dynamic and caring teaching style excites and interests open doors. And you've heard what my sons do. He's the reason. Bill Rumsey, Roger Lawrence, Brian Town, who challenge students to new heights. Carol Sanford, Shirley McIntosh, who are tremendous supports to students and to myself. Eric Wangerman, whose dedication and enthusiasm opens students' eyes to their own talents, and whose friendship has uplifted me when we're both feeling a little overwhelmed. Our administrators, Bob Regan, the high school principals, and others who seem to have cloned themselves to be able to be at virtually every student activity, and are so supportive of the quest for learning. Of my professor, Steve Kozio, which I work with at MSU, and doctoral candidate Les Burns, who share my joy of guiding MSU education students to become dynamic teachers. And I can't forget my own students, both at Hazlitt High and at MSU. A philosopher in education, John Dewey, said that students will rise to our expectations, but he forgot to mention that they will raise the bar themselves beyond my expectations to challenge themselves. It's amazing. And to those who've entered and won the contests I've offered, to those who've inspired us at Baccalaureate, and to those alumni who are in my incoming email and stop by to share their college experiences. My parents, brothers, my sister Eileen, who's my long-distance book talk partner. Luckily, the video did cover my wonderful close family so that I can leave it to that, and ultimately my faith. On my classroom wall is the poster that was depicted in the video. That is one of my goals in teaching, to empower students to get along without the teacher. One never learns to drive from the passenger seat or feel the rush of opening a parachute from watching it on the ground. And there, in that same way, nor can a student experience the thrill of discovery and learning until that student assumes the responsibility for that himself. So for the opportunity to witness all this, treasure all this, strive and thrive on all this, I am grateful. Thank you again, Hazlitt Foundation, for the inspiration that you provide to us as educators of the leaders of tomorrow. Thank you.
Congratulations. Our next award winner is an alumni. Ready? Okay. Sam Connect.
I paint things that I love. Painting is a little bit like owning something without having to pay the price. If I paint a landscape, for example, for a while, I'm transported to that place, or I feel like it's mine to keep. Especially if the painting hangs on my wall for a while, even though it may move on to a client's home. But it's a way of expressing my love of my subjects, the people that I paint, even ordinary people that I think have extraordinary and unusual attributes, even if they're somewhat homely. I'm endlessly fascinated by the human face and form.
Pleasure for me to be here to give this testimonial, because with regard to Sam, there's a phrase that you can use to describe him that isn't used much anymore, and that is Renaissance man. Sam has so many facets to his personality and his capabilities that it's really difficult to believe that they're all in one human being. Not only is he a truly talented artist, he's a talented musician.
I'm having a great time with life, with the teaching that I do in the collegiate level, the producing of art and exhibiting as I do around the state and even on the national level. I've got 4 daughters ranging in age from twin daughters that are a year old to a teenager who just started driving to oldest daughter who's a freshman law student at Cooley in downtown Lansing.
Sam's an excellent person because he has analytical powers and he has empathetic powers, meaning that he can analyze problems, he can analyze situations, and then when you're dealing with students, what you also have to have is you have to have empathy. You have to understand the students. You have to be able to give them what they need and present information to them in a way that they can understand it. So I think he has a really good mixture of all the right components that make him a good teacher, certainly an excellent mentor.
I want to praise all of the teachers that I worked with here at the high school. In the artistic realm, my specific inspirations include American painters like Andrew Wyeth, Edward Hopper, 19th century painter Thomas Eakins, as well as Winslow Homer. These are very straightforward, die-hard American realists who have been my artistic inspiration.
I think that, again, I certainly believe that you've honored the right person on this and have honored a person who best represents the ideals that a school system should have.
Sam, for all the places you've been since you left Hazlitt and all the places that people have seen your work, tonight we're reclaiming you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much. Well, thank you, folks. I really don't know many of you, just a handful. But I feel that the honor is something that needs to be reflected back to Hazlitt for the wonderful work that you're all doing to work in the schools and to support them. My guiding lights that are with me tonight include my wife, Dr. Melissa Gerber-Connect, who's a professor of music at Hillsdale College, and my teenage daughter, Lori, and they're managing the twin daughters, Lydia and Catherine, there at this table. And then also guiding lights are dear family friends, Bill and Dorothy Lepsick, who reside in East Lansing. So thank you. So I was told 5 minutes of remarks, and I figured, well, people are going to want to know, what did I get out of Hazlitt? What did I get out of Hazlitt schools? Well, the flippant answer is that I got out alive. You know, seriously, I got a life out of Hazlitt schools. I can't begin to add up all the experiences and knowledge that I gained there in the course of 12 years of education, winding up at HHS. I could still remember the names of most of my teachers, Vera Ralia in kindergarten, and on and on. I owe a big debt to the whole school system, to the teachers, to the school board. Just the other day, somehow I came across my high school diploma, and Bill Hewitt's dad's name is on it as the superintendent of the Board of Education. Looks like there's a fine Hewitt dynasty still thriving. So the school board, the staff, teachers, everyone provide an environment that was then and now an excellent foundation for a bright future, even for somebody getting into a risky career like fine art. What a crazy thing. My high school teachers were most influential. There was Shirley McKee, the art teacher, who was a dear lady faced with an impossible task of teaching fundamentals of art to classes which unfortunately then were filled with behavioral problems. Not me. But at any rate, she understood that after taking a year of art with her, I bailed. I didn't want to deal with the other people that were like juvies at the time. And no hard feelings. In fact, not too many years after that, her husband, Russell McKee, who was the editor of the Michigan Natural Resources magazine, very graciously had a nice 6-page article produced on my landscape paintings. I was on a college prep track at Hazlitt, so I carried the usual load of academics. These teachers upheld high standards of performance. There was Denny Stoltz in biology, a coach who could really teach, and he taught well. We were in his classroom, November 22nd, 1963. And he knew how to help us cope as school was dismissed that day. Elsewhere, it's a thrill to see Tom Dubine, because he was my high school chem and physics teacher. He taught us the rigors of those areas, the scientific method, the periodic table. My daughter's studying and memorizing the elements even this evening for a test tomorrow. But Tom Dubine balanced the hard work with fun. He played Bill Cosby records in class. Great. There was Mr. Devlin in Latin, and I understand he taught for many, many years, retiring not too long ago. He loved to scold us heathens and suggested that we didn't measure up to the kids that he came up with in the Detroit area Catholic schools. But we saw all this as a friendly jest. He made Latin palatable without losing the important element of intellectual challenge. There are just a few of the great teachers in the high school system. As for extracurriculars, much praise goes to Willie Root, who was the cross-country coach. He taught us about endurance, the honor of sportsmanship, getting along in a diverse team. Inside the high school, there were the drama and musical events, Arsenic and Old Lace. I did the backdrop for a couple of the musicals, South Pacific and West Side Story, and got a lot of encouragement in that. And encouragement just went out to so many students at Hazlitt. I can't say enough about thanks to this school system. I loved it. The proof that my teachers inspired me is that I became one myself. It's one of the greatest jobs in the world, and I want to say thank you back to you, and a part of that is I'm giving the school system a work of my art, the Amelia's quilt picture that you may have noticed on an easel. Oh, here it is. So thank you, Hazlitt.
And our third inspiration winner this year will occur right after intermission. Thank you. 10 minutes for dessert, which are back this way, I believe, and coffee, and then back to your seats. Thanks. before we begin, if we could have another nice round of applause for the Peppermints. Thank you very much. There are a lot of people that make this event and the foundation work, and I'd like to have them stand for a moment, the Foundation for Hazlet Schools board, and hold your applause, please, until everyone has arisen. How's that? Pam Alford, Kristen Beltzer, Linda Bissell, Greg Barucki, anybody here? There's one. Penelope Milliman, Art Nash, Brenda Rathburn, Patience Drake Rosenbaum, Donna Stein, Tammy Van Krevlin, Frank Venuto, Carol Wollenberg, John Wollenberg, June Hewitt, Bev Levy, Bob Regan, and Sharon Jones. This is your Foundation for Hazlet Schools board. Let's have a big hand. And now, our third inspiration winner this evening, Jack Harney.
I think, Hazlet school system is a real star in the galaxy of schools. You look around, you read all the reports, and you realize what a great place Hazlet is. And that's why people like myself, who don't even have children in the district anymore, are anxious to help. So. Like anything, things get done when people participate, and we all sometimes would like to not always put so much emphasis on money, but money certainly is a factor. But I would say that when someone makes a contribution to the foundation because of all the volunteer work of the people that work on the foundation, and because of the dedication of the staff who uses that money very wisely for these mini grants and for some of these other programs, that when someone makes a contribution to the foundation, I'd say the effect of it is many, many times what that contribution is.
Working with Jack Harney has been just an absolute joy. Jack is a pillar in our community. He's full of energy. He's enthusiastic. One of the things that I remember about Jack is he's a real morning person. We had a lot of morning meetings at the Bagel Hall when it was there, and all of us couldn't wait for our omelets and our bagels, and Jack got out a handful of vitamins. I think the vitamins gave him all the energy he needed. Jack has always been really caring about his kids and all of the kids in Hazlet. I've worked with him since 1989 when I was first recruited on the foundation board. I think Jack has been probably our master recruiter. If you talk to other foundation board members right now, you'll find that either we were recruited directly or indirectly by Jack Harney.
Well, Jack Harney has done many, many good things for the Hazlet schools. Certainly Jack was an active parent in the lives of his children's education. Jack was a very active school volunteer. Jack Harney was a productive and enthusiastic school board member for many years, and for several years he served as board president and provided tremendous leadership to our school system. And Jack also was one of the original founders who actually created the Foundation for Hazlet Schools. And this is significant because through the foundation, we have raised thousands and thousands of dollars that has helped to enrich the education of our children here in Hazlet. So I would say, you bet, certainly Jack Harney is certainly deserving of this special recognition.
What I remember just most about Jack, period, is that he thought Hazlet was a good place to be, and then he set about to make it a better place for everybody and to have it stay a great place. And he's just worked very hard in a lot of areas to make Hazlet to allow Hazlet to maintain its reputation and for that reputation to grow. Hazlet's been a priority for Jack Harney.
Like everything that the foundation does, we have some real stringent criteria for selection, whether it's our mini grants or our endowment funds, scholarships. And so when we applied the criteria as far as looking for a community representative, Jack met every single one of them. He follows through, he's dedicated, he's energetic, he's a visionary, he's a leader. Jack Harney is just an all-around great guy.
I'd just like to conclude by saluting Jack Harney on a job well done. You've just been an inspiration to the entire school staff. Your dedication and your enthusiasm and your belief in children is just outstanding. And Jack, I can think of nobody better for this deserving award. So congratulations and thank you, Jack, for all that you have done, not only for all the children and staff members and the community of Hazlet, but what you've done for me personally. I appreciate it, and I'll never forget it. So best wishes to you and Nancy.
I'd like to talk just a little bit about what the foundation does. Our basic mission has always been to add the extras, do the things that educationally that we could do with the money we did raise, to do things that did not fall under the district's regular school budget. And some of the things that we do range from things like teacher mini grants,
Jack, I know you're reluctant to come up here because you hardly have anything to say, ever. But let me say to a community leader and to all of our friends, congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks so much, June. Well, thank you very much. I have to tell you, the first thing I did was to look down to see if I was wearing the same tie that was in the video. Well, first of all, thank you. I really appreciate being honored with all the other people who have been honored in the past, and Dee and Sam tonight as well. I'd like to just take a minute and recognize a few people. Certainly my wonderful wife, Nancy. My mom is here, who just turned 80, looks about 55 maybe. My brother, who's 50, looks about 85. No, hey, Dennis. And all my friends and buddies that are here, I appreciate that, and I'll be introducing my kids in a little bit too. They don't know that yet. You know, I'm so nervous up here. I've never been on the receiving end of one of these things, so I need my glasses. You know, in anticipation of receiving this award, I try to prepare some remarks that would allow me to graciously accept it and your thanks for the work that I might have done over these years. And the more I mulled it over, I found myself wanting to thank the school district and thank everybody else instead of you thanking me. Just like many people I know who've been in a position like this, I can tell you that I've gotten back so many more times over what I thought I contributed. Over the years in the foundation work, I've had the satisfaction of actually seeing great results come from hard work and sometimes even tough decisions. Some people go their whole life and don't get a chance to experience that, and I've certainly had that opportunity here in Hazlet. I've had the good fortune to work with some of the most dedicated and able people that I've ever met, community people, staff people, administrators here at Hazlet. And with them, allowing me to become part of a community process that I think has truly created a premier K-12 educational system for the kids who live in Hazlet. But maybe the biggest reasons I have to be thanking you instead of you thanking me, maybe taking a little credit myself, are sitting right in front of me. I'd like to ask my three kids, Adam, Heather, and Jason, to please stand up for just a second. Just want everybody to see you. I call them kids. In another couple of years, they'll all be over 30. There's nothing any parent wants more than to help their kids become strong, self-sufficient adults. And while both their mom and I can take the giant share of the credit for raising them, because the school system they go to is so important, it was important that they attend schools that challenged them and helped us prepare them for adulthood. I feel very strongly that because my kids got to attend Hazlet schools for their entire K-12 experience, that they had a distinct advantage. All holding college degrees, one of them working successfully in the insurance business, one a successful musician and songwriter, and my daughter being a doctor. I'm very proud of these kids. But it shows you again, like families are and schools are, you've got business, you've got the arts, and you've got science. Well, sometimes our society expects too much from our schools in terms of raising our children. All too often, it doesn't praise the good schools for the critical contributions they do make towards the future successes our children experience. Well, I know you're here to thank me, but I'm here to thank you, Hazlet Schools. I had 3 kids with substantially varied interests and talents, and you managed to stimulate all of them. You were a great partner in helping me raise my kids. And thank you for letting me participate so I could make a contribution and being a part of all of that. I've got a lot of great memories. The 40 years I've lived in Hazlet and the work that foundation and all the things I've done with all of you. I've gotten to know all of you so very, very well. I think the thing I'll remember the most, though, is that you took a minute to thank me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Before we get to some closing remarks, we're going to have June come back up and tell us a little bit about what the foundation is going to do with the money that has been raised tonight.
The one thing Jack left out is that he was a graduate of Hazlet High School too, but if he had told you the year, y'all would have figured out how old he was, and so he left that out. I did want to just make a couple of closing remarks about what tonight is really about. It is about legacy. Sam talked about a dynasty, and I don't know that I'd go that far, but there is a legacy in Hazlet Schools where one generation makes a promise to the next generation. And that's where my involvement in the foundation comes in, because I work with the endowment fund. And those who contribute to the endowment fund make a contribution today and promise that for the next generation of students, there will be funds there to do the kinds of things that we want our students to be able to do. To represent that tonight, in one sense, we invited a couple of students from the graduating class of 2002. If you had a chance to look in the back, you saw some incredible artwork. And it wasn't Sam's artwork. As beautiful as it was, it represents a very different style. That work is done by Nick Sanchez. And Nick, would you just stand up for a moment? Nick is the next generation of the SAMs because he intends to also someday teach, as does Steve Bennett, who's here out of that class as well. And we don't know who the class of, or what the class of 2015 will choose to be, but we do want to make sure that there's support there for whatever their dream is. Not all of us can teach, not all of us can paint, not all of us can lead, but as Jack has said, we can't all participate. I am not a fundraiser. I can't get my money back out of a soda machine when I lose it. But I can root on children, and I can advocate for them. And so I would encourage you tonight, if you can, to make a donation to the endowment fund. Tonight, over the years, we've had many generous contributions, and one of the forms of money that comes in regularly, Carol mentioned earlier, and that is contributions from developers who make a donation for every lot they sell in this community. And if you've lived here very long, you know that there's been a lot of growth in this community, and that's benefited the Foundation Endowment Fund. I do want to acknowledge tonight, and I hope it won't embarrass the givers, but the very generous contribution that I received this evening, or the Endowment Fund received this evening, from Gil White Developers. They're part of the developers that, one of the developers that gives a contribution each time a lot is sold. They have investors here tonight, the Wollenbergs and the Bissels. But this evening, Gil handed me 2 checks totaling over $8,000. Let's thank Gil. On behalf of all of those Hazlet children, I want to say thank you. The Endowment Fund for the last 2 years, each spring, has given 2 scholarships so that children whose dreams begin in Hazlet can be developed in other places. And so we give a $500 scholarship each year to a graduating Hazlet High School senior and also a graduating Meridian High School senior. And we want to be able to continue that. Not all of us can contribute at the same level that others can. I'm thinking that my United Way contribution of $12 a month to the Hazlet Foundation is looking a little sparse, given the checks I have in my pocket. But whatever you can contribute is appreciated. It's about participation, it's about advocacy, it's about legacy. Thank you for your support of the Hazlet Foundation and the Endowment Fund.
Good. Very good. Thank you. We are nearing the end. We only have 2 more items of business. I'm going to ask you to clap 2 more times, and then we'll be excused. If I could have the following people stand, please. June, stand up front. Kathy Dewsbury-White, Patience Rosenbaum, Ann Harkis, Sharon Jones, Penelope Milliman, Bob Regan, Brian Town, and Carol Wollenberg. These are the people who have put in countless hours putting together tonight's event. So let's give them a big round of applause. And also, we need to thank Brian Town, TV 25. Okay. All right, that's twice, so I lied. You got to do a couple more. Haas Whitman Design, the Peppermints for our music, and Stony Point Communication. Thank you all for your contributions tonight. And thank everyone that's here for their support of the Hazlet Schools and the Hazlet Foundation. If we could have the 3 award winners come to the front with their plaques for a picture, we'll let the rest of you go. Enjoy the rest of your evening and see you next year.